Good morning and good afternoon for the people at the East Coast. We have the honor and the privilege to speak today to General Effie Defrin, the IDF spokesperson, that give us a few minutes from his very busy schedule and will try to explain to us the situation in Israel right now. Effie have years of experience at the field in the IDF. He was an armor commander, even as a battalion commander, got wounded in the war in Lebanon, recover and come back to command. For the last years, he was the division commander of Tevel, the unit that responsible for all the relation between the IDF and the international militaries, including coordinate all the relation between Israel and the US. Maybe we'll elaborate about it. He was the attaché in India, and for the last few months, is the commander and leading the IDF spokesperson unit. So thank you, General Effie Defrin, for taking the time and being with us this morning. I would like to start with a bright picture about the situation at the multi-front arena in Israel and ask you, what is the situation right now from your perspective? And then we'll start digging into the main challenges of the PR. Thank you, Effie, again, for spending the time with us, and the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Nadav. First, let me start with thanking you for everything you are doing for us. And General Nadav was my commanding officer in several positions. So an opportunity to thank him. And also I would like to thank you, all the viewers here and listeners, for your support. It's incredible. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is for us, not only the amazing donations you are doing for us, but also for being a family to us. It's no less important, especially in these days, and sometimes we feel alone. I have to say here that I'm thanking you twice on behalf of the Israeli Defense Force. First thing, for being a family to us. We are Jews, we are one big family, but second, and no less important, as Americans, I viewed an unprecedented support from the United States of America in my previous position and in my current position. And one of my previous commanders used to say, he was the chief of staff, he used to say, Israel can rely on three things. One is God. Second is the United States, is the IDF. And third is the United States of America. So thank you for everything you are doing for us. Now about the situation, and I would say a few things. First, as you already know, what we feel here, it's a prolonged campaign. Never thought we would be in such a prolonged war. We still feel it's an existential threat for us. It's an existential threat that will define the future of Israel for decades to come, even centuries to come. It's a testing time for us. We feel it, and we failed. Second thing I have to say dramatically on October 7th, this is what my generation feels here. We failed, but this failure was followed by huge success on multi-front arenas, and we are trying to apply different strategy. We are not trying, actually we are doing it. We are applying different strategy. Just to give you a hint, when I came into my previous position, that was a few years ago, more than 6 years ago, I was told, coming into the office of the International Cooperation Division Commander, that the Israeli strategy is what I'll translate as containment and avoidance. We are trying to avoid wars or campaigns, especially prolonged campaigns. Those crazy guys around us are trying to drag us into campaigns or into challenges, which we don't want. We want to secure our borders very strongly, and we want to prosper. Israelis want to prosper here as a plural, liberal democracy. We felt startup nation. We felt confidence, enough confidence in order to prevent those wars and to contain threats with Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza and so on and so forth, not to mention Iran and others and its proxies around us. And I think it failed. It failed. We were naive in a way. So what we are trying to apply now, what we are applying now around our borders is a different strategy. We are trying to prevent threats when they are small. We kill them while they are small, before they are growing into an existential threat. Quick response. We are creating buffer zones, both in Lebanon, in Syria, and also in Gaza. We don't see as military professionals a situation in which we can defend our borders right on the front line when our civilians, when our villages are right on the front line with no buffer zone. So this is what we are trying to apply now. In Lebanon, I would say briefly that in Lebanon, we are in a situation in which we are seeing a strategic change in Lebanon, historic change. Hezbollah is weak. It still has the capacity to launch missiles at Israel, maybe hundreds of them, all the way to Tel Aviv and more than that. But it's not it doesn't has the will or the support from Lebanon like it used to have. We killed or we dismantled or all its infrastructure in South Lebanon and the entire of his leadership. So they are weak now and they have to calculate every measure. We are enforcing the agreement in Lebanon, the ceasefire agreement, wherever we see Hezbollah trying to reinforce, we are enforcing it ourselves and attacking every threat, as I mentioned before. Same thing in Syria. Syria, we saw a dramatic change recently with a change of leadership in Syria, because Syria used to be a pillar or a cornerstone on the way from Iran to Lebanon. It was used as a crossing point of weapons to Lebanon from Syria, Iraq, and so on and so forth. Now the new Sunna regime is different. We still don't trust them. Those guys, we have to look at them very suspicious way. In Syria, we won't allow any arms in South Syria that will threaten our civilians. So we also have our frontline posts over there, and we are attacking every time we see any arms coming to South Syria. Iran, I will not elaborate here unless you would like me to do next Nadav, but I will not do it now. But we attacked in Iran. We have reached in Iran the extent in which it was an existential threat for us, both their nuclear capacities, and second is the long-range missiles. They were developing thousands of long-range ballistic missiles. They were aiming to produce up to 8,000 in the next 2 years. They have reached the amount of 2,000. Let alone or put aside the nuclear threat, those heavy ballistic missiles, we saw the damage that they can do in Israel, and reaching the amount of thousands, 6, 7, 8,000 missiles. It could have been existential threat for Israel, and we attacked all the chain of production of those missiles and their launchers. We are still looking at Iran every day, every night, very suspiciously. We see how they will react. Will they go to an agreement or not, or will we have in the future to defend ourselves again? Going to Gaza. In Gaza, the situation is complex. I've been asked very repeatedly, by many around the world, how come you've reached such a phenomenal, results in Iran and in Lebanon and in Syria, but you are not capable of destroying Hamas and finish this war. It's a prolonged campaign. We never thought we will be in such a situation. Very cruel enemy, fundamental Muslim enemy, who uses his own civilians as human shields, hides underground, uses ambulances and hospitals and so on and so forth. They don't care about their own civilians. They are starving their own people. They are stealing all the huge amount of humanitarian support that goes into Gaza. They are selling it in high prices in their markets in Gaza City and other places. And actually starving their own people. They don't care how many people dead around them, as long as they survive in their underground facilities. They still hold our hostages. They've just released few video clips. It's a terror to terrorize Israelis. They've launched those videos, horrible videos. For us, October 7th scenes for my generation, and the scenes we've seen yesterday with those video clips of starvation of those hostages, it's a reminder of why we are doing it and what we are fighting for. and why never again. I learned it on history books, history lessons in high school about the Holocaust, 1945, 1948, when Israel was established in order, and the IDF was established in order to prevent such scenes, and it's still happening, and this is what we are fighting for. It can end tomorrow if they will bring back our hostages, but they don't. They are using them as insurance and torturing them. We know that. We have our intel, and we will continue, although it's very hard and very challenging, especially international legitimacy against us. And I will elaborate on that in a few minutes. But this is what we are fighting for. Situation right now in Gaza is we are seizing, we are encircling Hamas around the city of Gaza in what we call the central camps. It's in the central part of Gaza. We are pushing very hard humanitarian support into Gaza in order to prevent this fake, starvation campaign they've launched against us. And unfortunately, it's been distributed all over the world. And it's totally fake, and I can prove that in numbers. And I did so in the last few weeks. Again, we will keep pushing them. We have few ways to go on with this campaign. We will keep pushing them in order to reach our goals, mainly bring back our hostages and dismantle Hamas regime in Gaza. We cannot live with this regime. It's a small piece of land. We cannot live with them very close to our villages and kibbutzim, in cities, few meters, less than 1 kilometer from those hostile places. Nadav, please.
Thank you, General. You mentioned the clip. Well, you see hostage like a Holocaust survivor and very healthy hand of a Hamas terrorist that look that is not suffering from lack of food, giving a water. While you see this clip, you see the same day, the evening, at the opening of the news, at the US and other countries, the Hamas campaign explained that Israel starving and torturing the people in Gaza. If you can elaborate a bit about this PR campaign of Hamas and what do you do as IDF spokesperson to fight it?
Well, you know what? I will elaborate a little bit. Nadav told me previously that he wanted me to speak about those challenges, those PR challenges, or how do I explain this situation around the world. So I will share with you those challenges. I'm exactly 4 months now into this position. I feel like it's several years. It's because it's so intensive, and we have our limits, and I will explain here, and I will answer your question, Nadav. First thing is prolonged campaign. We never imagined we will be in such prolonged campaign. The IDF was built for short campaigns. This was our strategy. Very strong, very massive. You go in, you win, you go back home. It's a small country, Israel. You want your population to go back to their normal lives and prosper and progress. So we were never ready for such a long campaign that was enforced on us by Hamas, and they are willing to make it as long as more and more in order to exhaust us. And so this is one thing. Second thing is Gaza is very dense area, very urban, dense area. I think it's one of the complicated battle zones around the world. I've seen experts coming from the United States of America armed forces and from all over the world to see what's happening there, and they are shocked. When these generals and officers are coming, they are shocked. None of them face such a challenge. When Hamas is so deep embedded into the population, underground and above ground, every single house has its shaft or uses it as command and control center or for storage of weapons and so on and so forth. Every single house, sometimes the whole street. And we have to fight such when it's fully embedded into civilians using children, UN schools, mainly UN schools, hospitals, ambulances, and so on. It's a big challenge. It's a big challenge when you are a commander on the ground, and we've been in this place. When you see a launcher on the backyard of a school aiming to launch a missile at Sderot or at Ofakim or at other places around Gaza, and you know that if you will hit preemptively this missile, you will kill children. But if you will not, they will kill your own children. It keeps happening. It keeps happening as we speak right now. And they are using it. And I will explain why. This is part of my challenges now. How do you explain that? Because what you see on Al Jazeera right away, and then in international media, is Israel attacking school, Israel attacking ambulances, Israel killing children, Israel starving, and so on and so forth. You know that it's very hard to face those accusations. Although you know the truth is beside you. It's I'm right. They are wrong. They are evil. So this is the second thing, very dense area, civilians as shields. In fact, the strategy of Hamas, and they say it out loud, they don't hide it. They use media, what they call media ambush. They want us to do these things. They want to take a picture of us, of one of our missiles hitting civilians in order to use it against us, and they do. They have a tool, they have Al Jazeera, and then, as I mentioned before, other media tools as a vehicle to spread these narrative against Israel. So this is another challenge I have here. We are operating, and I commit on that because, as I said before, we are family. We are committed to international law, and more than that, it's the Israeli values, it's the IDF values. We will, because we are Jews, we have our values. Again, so they are using those Western values as our evil. They can kill their own people. Nobody, when we have to defend ourselves, literally. So this is we are using the Western values, and they're what I call they use jungle values. They can do whatever they want to do. Nobody expects them anything. I saw an interview by the Guardian chief editor. He was asked by an Israeli journalist, "Look, why do you spread these things? Why do you talk only against Israel? Why don't you show or expose what Hamas is doing?" And he said, "Oh, from Israel we have different expectations." Maybe it explains a few of the things. In addition, UN and international organization, they are led by, I would say, political directions, and not by the will to feed the people of Gaza or support the people of Gaza. We have thousands of pallets. You know, I've seen last week, I've been there myself, more than 1,000 pallets of food waiting inside Gaza. We've pushed it inside Gaza for the UN to distribute, but they didn't do it until the moment I exposed it on the media. International media brought international media tools to see it, and then they started spreading it or distributing it to the population. So we are dealing also with UN, which is sometimes hostile. They didn't like the GHF, the Gaza Humanitarian Fund, that built those distribution centers because for them it was a failure. They failed as UN, and they failed in separating the humanitarian support from Hamas, who took from their hands the food and the humanitarian support. So they didn't want to cooperate with that. Another thing is, as I mentioned, part of his strategy, Hamas uses ambulances and hospitals and schools and you name it, in order to show how Israel is doing horrible things. Unfortunately, hostile international media in many cases, as I mentioned before, which first thing is they say things against Israel. They don't check what is right and what is wrong. We saw on the New York Post an example this a few weeks ago, last week actually, when they presented the picture of a very sick child, claiming that Israel, or blaming Israel for starving this child. We have dozens of incidents like that. Well, it took us time in the IDF, but we found this child sick in Italy, in a hospital in Italy for 3 months. He's not in Gaza at all, and he's sick in a disease, unfortunate disease, and he looks very, very hungry, but he's not. He's there with his family, and we allowed him going to Italy for medical treatment. And they used this picture, and they never denied it until we showed them the proofs. And then they wrote it, I don't know, page number 7 in small letters on the backside of the newspaper, saying that they were wrong. And the damage was done, not only to us in Israel, but also to you around the world. Anti-Semitism is under those fake news. Anti-Semitism is growing. But I think last two things for me, above all, talking about challenges, and this will answer your question, Nadav. I think it's above all, Hamas is a fundamental racist, religious, different culture than what we know, who aspires to kill Jews. And they are saying it out loud, aspires to destroy Israel. And they, after almost 20 months, we are now 22 months of war. Very hard on Hamas. We killed all their leadership, hundreds of meters of kilometers of tunnels. We've dismantled or killed most of their command and control top echelon, including battalion commanders and above, and company commanders. And still, underground, when the population is suffering because of them, they still, we know that from our intel, we listen to them. They still talk about Tufan 2.0. Tufan means the flood of Gaza, what they call the flood of Jerusalem. Tufan al-Aqsa, which was the name of the operation they launched on October 7th. So they are planning to do another one in 1 year time. They are planning to, if they will go to a ceasefire with Israel, to rebuild themselves in order to execute another operation like that on Israel. This is their aspiration. They don't care about the results or the implications of anything. This is how fundamental it is. And not to mention their leadership in Qatar or wherever, or Turkey, wherever they are. They keep saying that. They don't regret October 7th. They don't claim it was a mistake or whatever. They take pride of that. And the last thing, I'm committed to a speaker values, IDF speaker values. I have to say the truth. And I keep saying the day or the minute I will have to say something fake or false, I will have to resign, because I represent the IDF and its values. And I will, and this is versus propaganda values. Sometimes you see on social media, on Twitter, even on traditional media tools like the New York Times, like we saw only last week, they very fast launch those messages or this news, fake news, without even checking if it's true or wrong. I cannot act according to these jungle laws. I have to check. I have to be reliable. I have to understand. I have to investigate each incident and to understand I'm right, and to give you, the Israeli viewers, or around the world, the truth. And it takes time. I cannot do it in 5 minutes or sometimes even a day. It takes hours, sometimes days. And by this time, we pay very heavy price. Can it change? We are doing our best in order to improve it, but we are sticking to the truth and to our values.
Yeah.
This is for me, Nadav,
Unfortunately, in
please.
some cases, people are not sticking to the truth and create their own narrative, and that's what run in the media. And unfortunately, some of our friends in Europe and even in the US enjoy the fact that they have something to put in the front line of their paper instead of checking us with us, Israel, what's really happened in Gaza. And what's really happened in Gaza, show the FIDF spokesperson video. You can just link to there and see the amount of storages waiting in Gaza for the UN and for others to pick it up. I'm speaking about hills of humanitarian support waiting at a checkpoint in Gaza, regardless everything that's been pushed by the IDF into Gaza to support the people. So first of all, thank you for your effort. I want to ask another last question. As I mentioned at the very beginning, you were the commander of the Tevel division, the division that's responsible for all the relation between the IDF and the international military, including the U.S. military. And during the time, you were the one that coordinated all the exercise and the cooperation with the U.S. Central Command and other. If you can elaborate a bit about the relation with the U.S. And about the way that it ran through this war.
Well, first of all, we are in the military. We have great relations with United States Central Command. I have to tell you that what I felt, again, in my previous position, including now, I had a pleasure on last Thursday to say goodbye to General Eric Corella. He was he will change his position on Friday this week, but he came for a farewell tour in the Middle East. Last country he visited was Israel, and we said goodbye. A true friend of Israel. We developed with these guys, it's more than friendship. It's more than strategic alliance. It's much more than that. We feel with them part of the family. It's bipartisan. I'm telling you, I'm honest with you. It's doesn't matter what your political views are. We had some challenges in the last 22 months, different administrations in Washington, but still, under any administration, it's bipartisan. Their relationship is strong, is very deep. It's more, it's a family. And I visited during the war several times in Tampa, Florida, in Central Command headquarters in DC, advancing those relations. And I can share with you two main issues in which they supported us. First, and I invite myself, Nadav, for another podcast talking about the regional architecture we developed here in the last few years, because it's history on the making. And I have to say, thanks to U.S. Central Command, for us, for our generation, Nadav, it's crazy. If you'd ask your father or my father, if you tell him that we have peace treaties with Egypt and Jordan, with all the challenges we are facing with them. We have peace treaties with Jordan and Egypt, and with UAE and Bahrain, and Saudi is only in the reach of a hand. It can come, and we are cooperating, and I cannot elaborate more than that. Cooperating with our neighboring country on defense of the region and defending Israel. My father would say I'm crazy. Unfortunately, he's not alive anymore. But for his generation, it was a dream, and it came true. So I am optimistic for the future of Israel, for our strategic position, and it's all thanks to the U.S. Central Command. We did it together with them. They are embedded into this region. So when it started with the Abraham Accords, 2022, and when they maybe naively started inviting, let's say, the IDF Navy commander to a meeting of Navy commanders, regional Navy commanders. So you see around the table, a Navy commander from all our neighboring countries, including countries we don't have diplomatic relations with. And this is a dream come true. And I experienced it personally. And so this is one thing, bringing Israel into the region. Israel was never part of this region. We were rejected from this region. We sing songs in the European song context, the Eurovision. We are not part of Europe. We are Asians, aren't we? We forgot that. We are playing basketball in Europe, but we are part of this region, and they started digesting us into this region, and they have put a lot of effort in that. And again, it's history on the making, and this is something we have to thank them a lot. Second thing is the support with ammunition. Along the last 2 years, they did their best in order, and they showed a lot of flexibility, bringing weapons to Israel from all around the world, where Americans are stationed. And I cannot elaborate on that, but this was amazing, and they did it because they felt we are sharing the same values of freedom, of democracy, of liberal democracy, and it's not only about strategic interests. And the third thing is that during April, attack from Iran, in October, attack from Iran, and then the 12-day campaign on May between Israel and Iran, they were very supportive, and this includes all the various efforts I just mentioned, and I cannot elaborate, unfortunately, on that. In the next conversation we'll have, I promise I will, Nadav. I will present how it happened. But it is amazing. It's history on the making. I'm optimistic. I think we can reach other places in the region, in this region, and a lot of it thanks to the United States of America and Central Command.
Thank you so very much. While we're speaking, your office has sent me text. Please release the general. I have to go. So I know that you have a very busy schedule at the South, and you're running from one place to another. You're at the South Command right now, and I want to release you for your real mission. So thank you for everyone so very much for your service and all you do to defend the state of Israel. And thank you for giving us part of your time and explain to us what's going on in Israel. Thank you, General.
Nadav, with your permission, one word I didn't say, and I should have started with that, with the FIDF. I know the FIDF since I was a young private in the IDF. And you can't imagine how FIDF is all over the place. And I can't say or can't emphasize enough how thankful I am. I was injured very severely during the 2004 with Lebanon. I suffered personally from PSD. Something I say out loud in order to support those youngsters who injured now after 22 months of war in Gaza, and we have many of these incidents. And it's amazing what the FIDF is doing for us. I know the many projects, maybe hundreds of them, FIDF is responsible for, but two main ones is the PTSD project and the Resilience Center and the PTSD project with Sheba Hospital. I cannot thank you enough for doing so, and just for you to know, it's very important for us. It's a huge hug from you guys, and thank you very much. And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, General. Thank you.